Let's just make sure this mic is loud and clear. How's everyone doing today? It's Wednesday, hump day. We do have quite a bit of action in the market today. Loud and clear. Thank you, Mohammed. Appreciate that. All right, so right off the bat, we're going to get a trading opportunity on the long side of Marvell today, guys. I've been watching this for several days now since we've had this really nice pullback and we've just gone sideways, but we should get a day trade long. Marvell is one of the top watches on mine. I like it a lot. Right into this volume area, that's your point of control. So you're sitting around 69. So it needs to go a little bit lower. You're triggering a bit of this bear flag. So I do like Marvell in this area for a long. If we flush a little bit more, you can see there's this nice little upsloping trend line, pivot low to pivot low that we should pierce, which I love that because when you pierce key levels, that's known as a bit of a liquidity sweep. So I want to see it pierce this trend line right into this yellow area. Big volume accumulation there. So that is the long level on watch. If you want to take it a step further from this recent little rally, this is your first major pullback. Just throw up a little bit of a fib retrace. And you can see that there's also a 50% retrace zone right sandwiched in between there. So Marvell is on watch for a long today. Let's see what else we got shaking and moving. The S&P 500 obviously had that nasty little sell-off yesterday, but it is rebounding off of the lows this morning. So you can see it closed near the dead lows. I was really hoping for a gap down, but we didn't get that gap down. So obviously we just have to be patient with this because it is trying to basically firm up at the lows here. Negate a little bit of this bearish price action. So we'll just give it the benefit of the doubt. The S&P technically is coming into an aggressive short zone right back at this volume zone, parallel channel, downsloping trend line. So there is an aggressive short there. But we'll just see how the market wants to open out. Right now you do have strength in nvidia. So nvidia is trying to firm up a little bit more. As soon as Jensen Huang mentions H20, the market just absolutely wants to buy this stock up. Again, I actually think that semis can get faded today. You have some weakness in ASML. So ASML is one of those institutional plays, guys, semiconductor plays that most retail is not buying. Why? Because it's priced at 800. Well, now it's priced at 754 with a massive gap down. And what is ASML doing? ASML is guiding 2026, saying the dreaded Wall Street words that they may not be profitable, or sorry, they may not be growing in 2026. Wall Street hates that. When there's no growth, that's it. They throw the baby out with the bathwater. They exit stage left, and this is obviously what has been transpiring with ASML. Now, there's a couple things I want to mention with ASML. Let me just turn this little indicator off. ASML was looking for a bullish breakout. There's a clear inverse head and shoulders, and it was broken out. It had a huge upside potential to that $1,000 level. Now what's happening? Massive gap down on earnings, and it is toast. You're going from a bullish breakout to a failed bullish move. A failed bullish move often results in much lower price. So don't be surprised if ASML wants to retest this longer term parallel channel. This goes all the way back to 2020 low, 2022, 2025. I think ASML is going to have to do a lot of selling to make its valuation a little bit more comparative to some of the semis that are actually growing. Which is nice because this is a behemoth in the semiconductor space, and 317 billion market cap as of yesterday, dropping down about 7% now. That's quite a lot of billions that could flow into other names, so we'll keep that one on watch. We also had some other bank earnings this morning. Bank of America. Right now that's acting okay if we look at some of the pre-markets data here. You can see Bank of America had a little bit of a dip and now getting a bit of a spike. Goldman Sachs also reporting earnings. What saved Goldman Sachs' bottom line is their traders. Their traders reported a bigger profit than expected of over 800 billion, saving the stock on its earnings, and obviously that is gapping up slightly this morning. All right, so PGR, we are also long PGR, guys. Good to see that that stock is showing some strength. It is extremely oversold. This is another institutional-based stock that that I really like, even for a long-term hold. This is one that not a lot of retail buy. It's in that institutional insurance game, kind of in that mob system. Insurance is really the mafia game. But again, we bought near this point of control, huge volume zone, oversold on the daily. This is a quality stock that I think has quite a bit of room to run in the near term. All right, so PGR catching a nice little bid off, basically a 10-point rally, almost up 5% there. So really good move for PGR. Okay, let's see what else is shaking and moving today. We also got Goldman Sachs, GS. Goldman Sachs, really, it's still very extended in this overall chart, but it is showing some strength off of its earnings. Earnings came in a double beat. Surprise on the earnings and the rev side. That's good to see. Yeah, they actually crushed the revenue by an extra billion. That's really good. J&J is another one that is showing some strength in the pre-market, and this sets up. I've been so close to going long UNH, guys. So close. But I really want to see it get flushed down a little bit more. I'd love to see UNH flush to this 274 level, this parallel channel. Pivot high to pivot high, pivot low to pivot low. Its earnings is coming up, so we do have a potential opportunity here. I might even take some lotto upside calls into earnings, but we'll certainly watch that name. Let's look at PLD. PLD missing on its earnings front. You can see it's missing on the earnings. Revenue was a beat. It is gapping up here, trying to break out of a really nice consolidation pattern on the daily chart. So here we have a stock that its earnings really wasn't that impressive, but it's still trying to pop to the upside. What are your thoughts on penny stocks? Treat them as options plays, lotto plays. I'm open to it as long as there's volume there. You know, you just got to be mindful that they are highly manipulated. So big reward can come with big loss. But if there's volume, we can chart anything. We'll trade anything. And I like a little bit of data. A lot of penny stocks don't have much data to chart. I like at least like 2 years. I know a lot of stocks, penny stocks don't have that, but you know, you can get a couple monthly candles under the belt, then you can chart it. Las Vegas Sands also set to report earnings today. Right now, its chart is looking like it wants to go a bit higher. I see resistance. If it popped into this resistance zone here, I would definitely execute a potential scalp short. So that is on watch. Kinder Morgan. Yeah, this chart's really interesting, guys, because it does look like it wants to press higher here in the near term. What pattern is that? That's a really large inverse head and shoulders that you can say hasn't triggered yet, but if it triggers, my oh my, I mean, 23.80 to 30 bucks. That's a $7 rally from the neckline. We're looking at you know, close to 37 bucks if that breaks out. So maybe it does break out on its earnings. PNC, one of their largest regional banks. Obviously, regional banks got absolutely smoked yesterday on the back of those rising interest rates. CPI, you can see KRE down sharply. That's really what did IWM in was, sorry, the chart's a little bit messy. Let's look at TNA because I don't really have too much charted on that. So very similar perspective. You can see the harsh down move on small caps yesterday. Definitely showing some major weakness. All right, let's run through some of the usual suspects. Pre-market top gainers in the S&P 500. Who are we seeing here? We are seeing TTD showing some continuation strength after it had a nasty little reversal. Obviously, you have AMD still pushing higher here. I still had it hitting 160, but you never know. Again, Marvell gapping down over 3%. That is on watch for a long trade. ASML, not really liking this chart for any sort of a long setup. You probably do get a long setup, but I would have to imagine that ASML probably wants to sweep this low pivot here. ASML, let it sweep that pivot. So that's probably where ASML wants to go today, is testing this low pivot, sweeping it, and then maybe you get a little bit of a long. So call it a pierce of 736. You could probably take a stab at the long side of ASML. Today you are seeing some strength in ARM. ARM is gapping up by a couple dollars, 2% on the session. PDD, pretty active in the pre-market. PDD is in this mixed price action. Obviously it gapped up on China's strength yesterday, but PDD looks like it wants to go back to down to this 95, 96 level before it has a bigger move, but it's kind of 50-50. You got this gap fill that wants to drag it, but really no trade there for me. Let's look at Broadcom, AVGO. AVGO right now also very extended. Negative divergence on the daily chart. A little overbought on the weekly. 4-hour chart. Maybe it can go a little bit higher, but it's getting there. It's getting near a little bit of a zone where I do think that you should see some profit taking. And finally, Micron is also looking like it wants to go a little bit lower, at least to fill this gap, likely hitting this previous 50% fib retrace zone. What's interesting about Micron, let me just pull that fib zone back. And this actually blasted through my resistance zone. I remember shorting this and losing money on it. But Micron had all of these pivots that it just absolutely shattered through. So perhaps a retrace back to this little liquidity zone is likely going to happen on MU. So today the IWM is actually the strongest, guys. Gapping up quite firmly on the Russell. Look at that power move. So PPI came in. You've still triggered a head and shoulders on the Russell. 15-minute head and shoulders, so the pops could be shorted. The big level now that I see on the Russell. Let's just draw this head and shoulders in. You can see that's your head and shoulders neckline, guys. You bring that back all the way here. And there's definitely a decent amount of resistance back up to this 222 zone. But the Russell should go a little bit lower. It's just definitely oversold in the near term. Let's look at what the Dixie and yields are doing today. So you can see the Dixie still trying to hold this bullish structure from yesterday near the highs of yesterday's session, which is actually a strong sign for the US dollar. Remember, the US dollar is hitting some massive. I was actually showing my my family this yesterday, 2011, 2021. You know, it's not a bad time to probably buy US dollars. I did have it priced in that we were going to go a little bit lower, but definitely hitting some long-term. This is a 14-year support trend line, guys, on the Dixie. Pretty powerful. Let's look at the US 10-year yield again. So US 10-year yield is trading into this resistance, guys. This first little resistance where you had this breakout candle. So the 10-year yield is now trading into a decent amount of resistance, but this is the problem, right? We have a secondary resistance trend line just slightly higher at 4.55. But is the 10-year yield going to break out of this inverse head and shoulders? Oh my God, if it does, good night. Good night. Small caps, done. S&P will have to reevaluate. You know, that's a big, big problem. Because we could be trying to set, remember, we've been putting in, since we've topped here in the 10-year yield, lower high, lower high. I mean, this is technically a failed breakout here. So lower high, lower high, lower high, lower high. Is the 10-year yield market going for another higher high in this trend? But imagine this breaks out, 10-year yield, and bonds would be cooked. Stocks would have to reevaluate. Debt would have to be repriced. And again, if this breaks out, you have a target on the 10-year of 5.25. If investors smell any sort of a breakout in yields, that's a big, big problem. Big, big problem. Oil right now, triggering that bear flag. Oil once lower. First step is around 61.50. And then second target is your $57 level. And then third target, oil could actually go even lower and sweep these lows, guys. Just as an FYI, I think we could see $50 oil. Trump is pro-oil. I think we could see $50 oil, which would be very good for the consumer, businesses. That would help stocks for sure, especially transport stocks and the likes. This morning you do have SMH down. So remember, SMH is typically a leader of the NASDAQ and the S&P. SMH is gapping down here now into your gap window. And this is on the back of ASML losing steam here. So we'll see if it wants to drag down the QQQ. This morning, QQQ is still green on the session. The Qs are the weakest indice right now, so maybe that's where we focus on some shorts if we're looking to catch a fading move. Natural gas this morning is also trying to make another breakout to the upside. Can you believe it? Natural gas is just a monster here, guys. And we've provided this upside target. Look at that healthy pattern on nat gas. 366, it could hit that today. And then once it hits that level, I expect a small pullback and then a continuation to your 396 level. We've recaptured this bullish wedge pattern, so we should chop to the high of this session. All right, so nat gas still remains constructive, looking like it's going to press higher. Basically back green on our UNG trade, looking for a little bit more upside. Names like EQT are probably going to absolutely fly today. Look at that, EQT pushing. AR is a little bit lagging, but probably also going to push back up to about 37 bucks. So those might be some areas of opportunity on the long side. LNG not looking too bad. CPK looking a little bit bearish there. All right, let's look at gold. Gold right now just still holding 33.33. Quadruple threes on gold here. Gold still looks constructive. I mean, you're still holding above this impulse green candle. Nothing's changed on my gold analysis right now. It's still a very tough short, even though I do hold some common share short GLD, which basically we are break even at this 306.46. Gold is still just a beast holding to the upside. Silver right now also having that pullback, but still holding inside bar consolidation. If silver loses this wide range green bar, then we're probably going back to this area here, this 34.50. Okay, let's look at copper really quickly, and then if you guys want to look at any individual names, feel free to put them in the chart. Copper again still just stuck in this flagging range. It does look like copper is trying to form a bit of this wedge pattern that wants to break out, but again, I still remain slightly skeptical on copper. It's been trying. Obviously, if it does catch a bit of a bid at the top of this wedge, then we could push for the highs. But copper right now hasn't been able to firm up and break out of this range just yet, but still holding up quite well. Still holding up quite well. I think the bulls want to really maintain price structure above this closing high here. So that high close on July 8th, that's where you want to maintain structure on copper. Again, copper stocks are quite interesting because they have gone through quite a bit of a dip here relative to what copper's done. So FCX has had a nice pullback. SCCO, and this might be pullbacks because earnings is coming up and then maybe they pop it on earnings. So I've been watching copper. I've been tempted. I was actually very tempted to buy yesterday, especially SCCO hitting this trend line right into gap fill. I was very tempted. So I'll watch it today to see how it reacts. But there might be a long trade setup on copper stocks. It's just risky buying ahead of earnings. We'll certainly watch that. Uranium right now still pressing higher, still strong on the session. Name like Oklo did get hit yesterday, but I still think Oklo's looking like it wants to press higher. You can see it is consolidating constructively. I still have higher price on Oklo. Let's remove these TPs. So Oklo's not looking bad at all. Pretty constructive breakout chart. I think Oklo is going to hit $77 and it should squeeze pretty sharply. Maybe it has a momentum breakout today, continuation move. Uranium is strong, so we'll keep that on watch. Muhammad Ali saying copper's doomed for a breakout. Could be for sure. All right, let's see what else is moving here. So Tesla had a really nasty day yesterday, closing near the lows of the session, bouncing today. You can see this little bear flag pattern. It broke, pretty much completed its little downside move. Let's see Tesla's hourly chart. Again, I still think Tesla is shaping up for a bigger move to the upside. Elon Musk just needs to get his shit together. The downside for Tesla, guys, that I don't really like is that we lost this gap fill. I really don't like that. And you got rejected hard off of the daily 50 and the daily 200. The daily 50 and the daily 200 are sandwiched right in this zone here. From 320 to basically to about 315. That's where you're sandwiched between. So that's a bit of a problem for Tesla. It needs to get through this 320 zone. That's where you have that key resistance and moving averages. Yes, call on Marvell today. I do like Marvell. For anyone that missed it, Marvell gapping down, hitting support here. I like Marvell a lot, guys. I like Marvell a lot, but it needs to go a touch lower. So right around 69 bucks. Marvell looks very intriguing to me. Let me just firm up the exact level. Yeah, 69 bucks, guys, on Marvell. I would get into next week call options. And another reason Marvell's been struggling here is that dividend, I just realized. So they're paying out that dividend. Typically stocks do decline into that dividend. But Marvell, I would just buy at the money calls. If we hit 69 bucks, Marvell's $69 calls I think would be good enough for me. If you're a little bit more aggressive, and they'd probably take next week's expiry. I would probably take next week's expiry. Just want to see some. I'm just doing some work on my other chart here from my Marvell, making sure we have the best level that I see. Excuse me. Yeah, 69 bucks to 68.50. You have a 50-cent range that I'd accumulate in. A 50-cent range, guys. I like it a lot, guys. That is my top watch on the session today. Marvell around $69. To 68.50. I would buy $69 calls for next week. If you're very aggressive, you can buy 69 calls for the end of this week. But again, I would look for next week. That's probably what I do. So if you're very aggressive on SPY and you want to short this gap up, you can definitely do that. The stop loss on the trade, and I might actually consider that, guys. I might take an aggressive short on SPY off the open here. Let me just make sure this POC is exactly where I want it. Yep. So I might take a short on SPY off of the open. And the stop loss would simply be, let me throw on this. The stop loss would be any sort of a 5-minute close above this wide range red bar. If you got a close above this wide range red bar, 623.78 on a 5-minute close, that would be your stop loss and your risk. So I actually might take that off of the open on SPY as well. I would look for, what type of a move is this? This is a gap up of roughly $1.40. So $1.40, we're trading at 623. Aggressive traders can take 623 puts, conservative takes the 624 puts. I might take 623s. That puts us back testing this previous little hourly support zone. Again, I like this support zone a lot, guys. This trend line is key for the health of the market. This hourly chart trend line that goes all the way back to December 6th, 2024, January 23, February 20th, right through this chop. Yep, 623. $623, I do like it. You might want to retest and try to pierce this trend line breakout. That's why I'm going to give it a 5-minute closing basis, because they might try to stage a bit of a breakout out of this downsloping trend line on SPY, which would stop out a lot of traders if they give it a little peekaboo breakout. So just keep that in mind, that they might try to sweep this trend line. But I do like that. And I mean, honestly, looking at the Qs are probably the better short with the weakness that's occurring in ASML and some individual semis. You can see that beautiful channel on the Qs that was hit. The Qs look like they want that gap fill, just as an FYI. So if you're looking to short the Qs, because there's some strength in the banks today and SPY's actually outperforming Qs, the Qs are probably the better short trade idea, guys. It's a gap fill. But I like how SPY moves. So I'm still sticking to the SPY level. I like that point of control there. High volume zone. Let me just do a couple little things on my NASDAQ chart here. I just want to, from my observation, see if I want to flip my bias on the Qs and short that instead. See, the QQQ short zone is to short it off of the 557.64. So QQQ short zone is to let it run up to 557.64. Right in this area. That's your short zone. If you got a 5-minute close above that level, you'd want to be exiting that trade for sure. All right, let's see what else is moving here, guys, in the pre-market. If there's any observations that you guys are making, let me know. We are here as a collective, as usual, to try to make some money. I'm going to quickly grab some more coffee, and then we'll keep scanning this market for additional trade setups. So we got Ford. So Ford is gapping down today. Ford's been one of the strongest US automotive stocks. And it is coming into some support here. Let's see if there's a bit of a bounce here on Ford. Down 2.6% yesterday. Coming into a little bit of a minor gap fill zone. You can see there is a nice little gap there. So Ford's at an interesting spot. Give me a second with this Ford chart, guys. We might have a day trade scalp. Interesting area on Ford. So there is an aggressive long level on Ford right around 1133. Right in this gap. So there is an aggressive bounce level here on Ford, guys. Right into this previous little gap zone. I'll decide based off of what the indices. I'll keep a window open on it. Let's look at some of these other names. Lucid. Lucid's trying to break out. Interesting. This MP is just a monster day after day after day. Pull back from the highs, right back to the highs. Got the endorsement from Apple. Monster move. Let's look at Carvana. Carvana's an interesting one. Maybe it has one more move up to about 367, 370. If it can break out of this trend line, Carvana looks like it could squeeze a bit higher, guys, just as an FYI. Yeah, Carvana's probably going to make one more move higher here, guys, so stay away from that. PLTR, still strong on the session, into a huge amount of resistance here on PLTR, but it is trying to firm up here. Head and Shoulders triggered yesterday, and that is potentially trying to get negated as we speak. So you have a lot of resistance around 150. Hood, another one that's trying to push up here. Had that big news dip. I'm on the short side of Hood, but right now it is holding steady. Amazon moving higher. Meta's been unfortunate. I'm definitely losing on my 760 calls. That trade is not going as planned, but you win some, you lose some. That's for sure. Definitely going to be taking a loss on my Meta 760 calls. Unfortunately, that trade is just hasn't played out. Gone through a lot of distribution. Let's look at Apple real quick. Apple's trading slightly positive on the session. Apple's just forming this wedge pattern. Which ways are going to break? Apple's definitely more bullish right now than some stocks. And that's due to the fact that I think you're still seeing a little bit of capital rotation trends. Apple's probably going to have a strong back half of the year. I'm still riding 226. 225 Jan 16th calls, which we are up on Apple. Let's look at some China names again. So China had a huge pop yesterday. Baba taking a bit of a breather. Baidu I saw in the pre-market was down a little bit more. You can see Baidu's basically giving up a lion's share of its gains. It closed up 8.6% and getting sold into quite sharply there on Baidu. Let's look at XPEV. XPEV also down slightly on the session. TME is still holding steady. SMCI for Henry for sure. Yeah, so SMCI is probably going to continue to squeeze higher here. I could see SMCI doing a 3-bar surge on the daily chart. So SMCI is looking quite positive. It's one that's probably going to be catching some of that liquidity from ASML. So ASML is a big player in SMH, right? The reason why SMH is down is simply this name. It carries a big weighting. It's up there with AMD and nvidia. So with ASML down 8%, that liquidity wants to flow somewhere, right? ASML, huge move to the downside. It's probably going to rotate into names like SMCI. SMCI is probably going to do a 3-bar surge today on the daily. It might be a day trade, a pure momentum trade there. Yeah, you can see you're above yesterday's opening range, which is still very bullish. So any sort of a back test off of this 52.77 is a bit of a long entry in my opinion. So SMCI is looking quite bullish still, breaking out of that consolidation pattern. It's looking very bullish. Another one is ARM. ARM is trying to firm up here as well. Had a nice constructive pullback, breaking out of that opening range high today. So there's still quite a bit of constructive charts out there. Oh yeah, we'll watch. Let me see Archer Aviation. That was one that I was looking at, interested. That had a very strong move yesterday. Also another one that could be a momentum play, guys. A continuation move. Any sort of a back test to your opening range high is an aggressive buy zone and could be bought. So if we get a pullback, I'd watch this name. IE saying Oracle might have room to run, but not a great range downwards. Yeah, Oracle's just been a monster, right? It's just been grinding higher and higher. Pretty much leaving everything in its dust. One of the best cloud stocks for the time being. Yeah, Oracle does look like it wants to sweep the highs. Looks like it wants to make a new high. It showed some outperforming relative strength yesterday compared to the S&P and NASDAQ. So good observation there. But if it sweeps this high, then I'd get very cautious because you're starting to put in a really strong negative divergence on that RSI for Oracle. And it's had a stellar move to the upside. You can see you're trading into this weekly RSI resistance if you draw a trend line. So perhaps one more move higher on Oracle into this resistance trend line on the RSI, and then you probably are due for at least some sort of a pullback. But Oracle's still a beast right now. Still an absolute beast. Holding higher highs and higher lows. Very strong uptrend still. Let's look at Cloudflare, NET. NET is another one that probably wants to do one more sweep of these highs, guys, and then that becomes a short. So there are some stocks that are trying to, what I would call, they're getting very close to some more shorts. So which means that these are some of the leaders in the market. So we have to be mindful that when some of those leaders start to show us some signs that they're getting close to a short, you just need to be mindful that maybe we're going to get a pullback. Just maybe. Netflix is one that's had a nice little pullback, backtesting your previous little breakout zone. I still think Netflix goes a little bit lower, but probably form a bear flag here, which could create even a right shoulder for a head and shoulders pattern. So we'll see if Netflix wants to participate in a bit of downside, but you've broken that wedge. I'll remove that trend line since we no longer need it. And the new trend line to watch is going to be this key trend line here. So could you create a head and shoulders on Netflix? Perhaps, for your next little trip down into your 1130 zone. That's kind of where I think we retest this volume shelf. Obviously still a household name that people are accumulating. In terms of the crypto, you had Ethereum trying to play catch up here. So this is one of the reasons I haven't shorted coin. I had it priced in that coin was going to hit 400. We almost hit it there yesterday. Actually, did we hit it? Yeah, we did hit 400. I just actually missed that. But coin looks like it wants to tap this trend line, and maybe it's perhaps because Ethereum's going to start running here. Bitcoin's lagging a little bit, still firm today on the session. But I am obviously short crypto. We unloaded all of our longs. Remember, I'm short off the 122 level. Let's look at ENVX. So big move up, big move down. Nasty. Nasty little reversal candle there. Even with that reversal, it's still a strong chart. Again, this one does have a tendency that the pops, big moves have big drops, big moves have big drops. It's still in a very strong technical downtrend. It actually does look like that this is potentially a failed higher high breakout. So yeah, if you want to use if you want to short this, and really your stop loss is the 1630, 1626 pivot high, I have no issues with that. Just understand there is a high amount of short interest in this name, so that you could potentially get caught in a short squeeze. If you break this higher high, I mean, you're going to get a continuation squeeze. This is a minor squeeze that has occurred on ENVX. Remember, semiconductors have been strong, but this name has a tendency to just keep getting sold into. Still a massive high, lower high, lower high, lower high, lower high, lower high, low, lower, low, lower, 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 lower. So this is in a clear downtrend still. It really gets interesting when you start closing above this on a daily and weekly basis. That's when you get your real short covering rally. You know, it's had a minor squeeze, but the real squeeze comes in once you officially make that higher daily closing. So, but that's a nasty little topping tail. I think you will have some support back here around 1350. But you have a kind of a clear stop loss on this chart if you want to use that. Alright, so again, guys, Marvell is of top interest to me, and a SPY short. So we're going to keep... So we have a Marvell long and a SPY short, guys. I'm going to keep that SPY chart up just because that one is into the short level as we speak. So again, I'm looking at getting into 624 zeros, 624 puts on SPY. So get ready for the open here, guys. Alright, so SPY, I'm looking at a short, guys. I'm looking at a short on SPY, 624 zeros, right off of this area, the 623 volume zone. And my risk is going to be basically a 5-minute close above this key zone, this pivot here. It is basically it's more of a 15-minute chart level, but I'm going to use a 5-minute risk of a close above there. And I watch Marvell on my other screen, because that one is still coming into a long level. All right, markets are open here, guys. SPY is into that short level, guys. Still hit almost 69 bucks, almost. All right, guys, I just entered a SPY short here at $1.13, $1.13, SPY 624 put. Here we go. Beautiful little, called that in the pre-market. I said you might try to break out, sweep it. Look at that. Look at that, guys. Come on. Take us a little bit lower. Again, I like Marvell around 69 bucks. There's Marvell. It's piercing that $69 level, guys. Come on, Marvell. A little bit lower. I'm looking at a long on Marvell, guys. Right in this region. I'm taking a starter right here, 68.64. I'm long Marvell, guys, and still short SPY. Marvell's hit our long level to a T here. I'm just long the common shares at 68.64. A lot of action right off the hop. We got one long, one short. So back to SPY here. If you want to get into $69 calls from Marvell for next week, that is a good opportunity. SPY still trying here to push up. Nvidia's reversing. What else do we have on the go? Bitcoin still doing well. Nat Gas still doing well. More of your defensive stocks are rallying here. Definitely some defensive stocks are rallying. Look at Marvell bouncing off of that area, guys. It is trying to catch a bit of support here. Still holding these SPY puts. Come on. Dump SPY here. We are up in on the trade right now. Nvidia seeing some top wicks. Semiconductors are definitely seeing some weakness. I'm seeing Viking Therapeutics absolutely trying to pump to the upside here. That's up almost 3% on the session. SPY's trying to hold steady here. Marvell going lower, SPY trying to press. Nvidia's about to go negative. SPY still holding steady. Right at that volume zone on SPY. Nvidia's seeing some more selling. Meta's back to the negative side. Google's still strong on the session. Apple's strong on the session. Natural gas ripping. Tesla up 1.3. Seeing more of your defensive stocks. KHC, Clorox. Staples are rallying here. Marvell continuing to fall with the S&P slightly here. You can see Marvell is even going lower. My second entry on Marvell Commons is going to be basically 67.84, guys. 67.84 is my second entry on Marvell common shares, if need be. All right, SPY, come on, give us a little bit more of a dip. Where I'm looking for a profit target, guys, on SPY is right into this red zone here. That's your longer term support trend line, right into this red zone here. That's where I'm looking to close half of my SPY puts. Marvell catching a bit of a bit off of the lows. How's ASML doing? Yeah, ASML is still weak on the session. Nvidia is trying to firm up, guys. Big bounce on SPY. Nice bounce on Marvell. So we're kind of got one long, one short, guys. One long, one short. We had opportunity. We still have opportunity to take about 15 cents a profit, 16 cents a profit off these SPY puts. But we'll see if they want to try to sweep this area and give us a close. SPY stuck right at that volume shelf. This is a big area. Marvell we're green on, guys. Marvell was our top watch. Google still trying to press here. China stock seeing some distribution. VKTX, guys, still flying. It's a nice swing trade. VKTX, I still have a higher price target in mind for VKTX. Let's look at the Qs here. Qs are actually negative, guys. So Qs are really... See, that would have been the better short, actually, the Qs. Right into that gap. But when the Qs go lower, typically it does drag SPY, right? We're still nicely green on our SPY short. Everyone had opportunity to get into that one right off of the open. Right off of that volume zone. 5-minute close. You can see how powerful this 5-minute candle rejection here is. This is our 5-minute close stop loss that we keep trying to get through, rejected. Try to get through, rejected. Come on. Take us lower, SPY. Remember, I'm looking for profit target right into the 623 Pierce zone. Give us a little dip, SPY. Still holding MRVL on the long side. SPY short, Marvell long. Nvidia's got some crazy top wicks. Tesla's still up 1.1. Apple's still up 0.5%. SMH is down 1.37. Meta, Amazon, Microsoft negative. Qs are negative. Gold slightly positive. The US dollar is trying to push here. Come on, SPY. Come on down. Come on down to target. Bitcoin seeing a little bit of selling. Home builders are catching a bit of a bid today. SPY's still just holding steady in this range, guys. Let's flip back to our 5-minute chart. We've had opportunities to take some profits on these little dips, but I'm still waiting a little bit more. I like the fact that we're kind of have one long, one short, right, in this market. One long, one short. SPY is trying to get through this zone. Nvidia still holding steady here. It's green, but seeing some pretty heavy top wicks off this region. Nvidia is trying to break out. Let's look at ASML. Look at that at the lows. SMH, guys, still struggling here, but trying to bounce. Come on, SPY. Marvell is catching a really big bid here, guys. That was our A+ setup. Marvell moving higher here. It is into an aggressive swing trade level here on Marvell. right through our long level. Look at that area. Nice little bounce. SPY still struggling a little bit. Come on down, SPY. Still green on the session, but coming in. nvidia about to go negative here. Come on, nvidia. Drop it lower here. SPY, come on, get to our target zone here, SPY. So again, we hit this red zone. That's our target zone. We hit this red zone. I look to sell half of my SPY puts and move stop to break even. At this point, guys, I'm going to keep a break even stop loss on my SPY puts. My average is at $1.13. We entered right off of this high spike here. Bitcoin seeing some sell side pressure. Microsoft, Amazon, Meta still showing weakness. Crude oil's falling. Look at the move down. These puts are printing. Come on, let's make our money within the first 15 minutes. Give us one more little flush down here, SPY. Come on. Drop it a little bit lower, guys. Drop it a little bit lower. Here we go, guys. Get ready. This could be quick. Right into this red zone. Come on. Bitcoin dumping. nvidia. Come on. Take nvidia negative. We're up nicely. We're up over 50 cents here. Come on. Give us more. They're trying to defend this price here. Come on. We are still seeing a little bit of weakness. SPY's coming into target. Nice and slowly. nvidia curling down. Qs are negative. SPY's green. IWM's green. So QQQ is down by 70 cents. IWM's up by 0.5%, up $1. nvidia's still holding steady. Apple up 1%. Marvell's still holding above our long level. We should have a little bit lower on SPY, but they are trying to defend it here. Very interesting. Remember, the weakness is today is in SMH and Qs, but Qs are bouncing steady here. There's some support here on the Qs, right? We've had a few hours of consecutive selling. SPY right now still holding steady. Marvell coming in. Again, my second entry, which would be a full position on Marvell, is around 67.84. Right now I'm long off of the 68.64. Just common shares. If you're wanting to take $69 puts for next week, Marvell does look intriguing. I still might take some call options on Marvell, but I'm just trading common shares for now on Marvell. Come on, SPY, drop it down here. Give us one more leg lower right into this zone here. Pierce the 623 level. Explode these 624 puts. Don't let this trade go against you guys. On SPY, do not let the SPY short go against you. I repeat, we are in the driver's seat. I'm seeing Bitcoin dumping here, guys. BTC is absolutely dumping. Coinbase coming in. AMD's negative. Ford is getting nasty down here. Ford's into a bit of a long level. SoFi still holding steady. Hood made another high spike today. Palantir still holding steady. Nvidia still holding steady. Apple still holding steady. Google trying to push for that 185. Google still a very strong chart. Marvell seeing some selling. Come on, SPY. Take our next leg lower. Here we go, guys. Here we go. to form our 15-minute opening range candle. We're very close to forming our 15-minute opening range. Here it is. 623.01 low, 624.12. We have our opening range. I'm looking for a profit target here on SPY. We're coming in, guys. Get ready. These puts are absolutely printing. They are printing. Right into the zone. One more little dip. Come on. One more little dip. We're up nicely on these put contracts. We're into that 623 strike zone now. You can see it's trying to get bought up here. All right, guys, I'm going to take some profits there at $1.58. $1.58. Just to lock in some gains on those SPY contracts. They shot up all the way to $1.70, but $1.13 to $1.58. And we still have half the contracts running, guys. So since I've paired profits now, I'm going to let it really test this low of this red zone here. That's where I'd trim the rest of them. But we've already taken a nice little chunk of profit off of that trade. Roughly 40% win there, guys, on SPY puts with a break-even stop loss. Okay? And we still have a long on Marvell, which I'm actually looking at getting into the $69 calls for next week, guys. This is actually, I think, a swing trade opportunity. I'm holding commons off of 68.64 on Marvell. But I might just get into some $69 calls for next week. I haven't even had a chance to look at what they're priced at. So right now they're around 212 to 233. Interesting. Very interesting. I'll continue to monitor that. I might just keep holding the commons on Marvell, guys. I think that that's a better risk to reward here. And again, that is a swing trade there. Swing trade, day trade, kind of a bit of a both level dual factor. Come on, SPY. Keep coming down, guys. We got more downside left in the tank. We've taken 40% profit on first trim. So a little bit of a winner to start the morning here. We're already in the driver's seat making profit this morning. We telegraphed that SPY short off of the open. We gave you the strike zone that we were entering. And we've already pulled 40% from this market. So please hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't. We still have a Marvell long. Still holding nvidia puts for next week. Let's see what else we got going on. All right. Viking Therapeutics still trying to squeeze. Citigroup's taking a breather. Tesla's ripping here, guys. TSLA diverging from the market. That stock is moving. Come on, SPY. Let's look at these Qs. QQQ still trading near the lows of the session. In terms of where I would trade SPY on the long side, guys, no, it's not too late to enter Marvell. Not at all. I'm in commons, and look, I'm flat. I'm actually considering getting into $69 calls for next week. I'm watching them. I just want to see where SPY, but I'm long Marvell, just common shares off of this zone. And I would consider adding into the 67.84. I mean, there is a gap fill down here on Marvell that we just need to be mindful of. So it could want to flush there, but I like this level on Marvell. I do. Right now it's just going through more weakness because SPY, look at SPY, guys, coming into target. Our puts are absolutely printing because we've took a first trim already. I'm looking for a pierce of this zone to exit the remaining. And we could actually try to flush and take out the low here, guys. These puts are absolutely printing. $1.90 on deck, guys. Alright. Alright, guys, I just got out of my puts. There you go, $1.99. I'm all out of SPY puts. Exactly what I said. Let it pierce this zone. I am all out at $1.99. Huge gain there. So just over 76. Amazing trade. Let's focus on Marvell now. That was amazing. I do have a SPY long level, guys. Look at that. SPY's probably going to take out this low of day. Look at that going. Remember, there is a bearish neck, head and shoulders target on SPY, but that's beautiful. Over 76% on the second half of those puts. Clinical. That is pre-market execution for you guys. And we are still going lower. Now I have a long level on SPY. I do have an aggressive long level on SPY, guys. But we need to see it sweep this low pivot. So there's a whole host of volume sitting here. Liquidity. You need to see it sweep this pivot low. Alright, but let's focus on our Marvell trade. Since we're now in that on the long side. And it is going a little bit lower here. Nvidia has gone negative. That's good for our put options. I'll watch Marvell here on the other screen. Considering I'm in common shares, guys, I'm going to lower this Marvell a little bit lower here. If we sweep these lows, I'm looking at a 67.60. Just because we've bounced a little bit, consolidated, but 67.60, I'd take my next fill on Marvell, and then that would be it. Just the two entries. Alright. But let's see Tesla here. It's seeing some nice rotation. Again, we're bullish Tesla. We're riding those 340 September 19th calls, which we're nicely green on. Nvidia, guys. Our puts from yesterday are absolutely starting to wake up. Come on, Nvidia. Nvidia's backtesting. Remember this wedge pattern that Nvidia was trading in pretty much all day? Well, it's now backtesting that wedge. Let's drop this wedge down here. And you can see Nvidia probably wants to still go lower today. Still have that bearish target of 168.80. I still think institutions are going to use this H20 news as a buy the rumor, sell the news type of event. IWM looking firm here. Never filled its gap, but had a really decent move to the downside. Again, Ford is into a long level. If you're wanting to take a stab down there, I'm just going to wait to see how Marvell reacts. But look at this VKTX, guys. It's becoming a monster. VKTX, guys, looking like it wants a high side breakout here. We're still long and strong VKTX. VKTX still trying to move. Marvell trying to bounce. SMCI's gone slightly negative on the session. You're seeing a nice bounce in some of these home builders names. Qs are still down by 0.32%, so clear weakness in the SMH, guys. Clear weakness. And remember, we also went long the SOXX yesterday with members off of the 701 level. You are into a bit of resistance here on semiconductor short. But a nice little gain there on our SOXS, guys. And it's still trying to push. Can we get a move into this gap fill on semis? I think so. I'm very bearish Nvidia at these levels. 4.2 trillion for what it's doing. In my mind, this is where you have to look at fundamentals of the standpoint. People are just so frothing at the mouth to get long Nvidia chasing this, but 4.2 trillion is massive. When I saw that gap up yesterday, 5% gap up in the pre-market, I almost wanted to full port my whole portfolio into a short on Nvidia because it's just filthy. I mean, 4.2 trillion for what it's doing, in my mind, is a little bit overdone in the short term. Again, it's Wall Street's favorite, but I still think that it should be seeing at least a decent pullback. I think we're going to at least see it pull back, rope in all of this H20 news liquidity. I really do. Let's look at AMD again. Again, is it a great company, Nvidia? Yeah, it is. But at some point, valuations have to make sense. And right now, in my mind, it doesn't make sense. So Microsoft, also at the lows of its session, looking pretty weak here. Definitely seeing some weakness. Apple strong on the session. Tesla's still shaking and moving this morning. Google still pressing here. Marvell, guys, trying to wake up. So again, we're executing two of our A+ pre-market setups. What else we got going on? Google pulling back slightly here. Come on, Marvell. Nvidia puts are starting to wake up too, guys. Look at Nvidia. Could Nvidia be triggering a head and shoulders here on the 5 minutes? This is a pretty decent head and shoulders move, guys, on Nvidia. We have two targets now. I have two targets on Nvidia. First bear target is 168.90. Second bear target now is down here around 167. Come on, dump it. Dump it. SPY trying to hold steady. SPY looks like it wants a new low of day, guys. There's a bit of a lotto trade on the Qs, guys, that's setting up. Qs are now into this previous little channel where it consolidated for quite a long time. So honestly, they might try to flush the Qs down to this lower boundary trend line. Because I'm seeing such weakness, guys, you just want to be careful with your Marvell calls. This is why I've decided to stay out of the put options for now on Marvell and go into straight common shares. Because the markets are looking like they could see a bit of downdrafting liquidity because of Nvidia looking on semis. You know, you really have some strong weakness in the SMH today, which is a little bit concerning for the main indices today. So this is why I'm just sticking with common shares, just in case they want to take Marvell lower in from pure market weakness. You have to remember, right? Semiconductors influence the markets in such a big way. Nvidia influences the markets in such a big way. And when a $4.2 trillion company starts going through a down move, it's like a friggin' anchor that just takes the whole indices down. So we just want to be cautious with Marvell, which is why I'm playing it safe with common shares versus options volatility is a little bit crazier. I still like the $69 calls. Don't get me wrong, if some of you are in it, but just size accordingly, right? Leave yourself a little bit of dry powder in the event that Marvell wants to fall a little bit lower here with the overall market. And there is that gap fill that I'm eyeing up. But we're hitting a very strong level here on Marvell. Tesla's still ripping here, guys. Tessie. Can these calls absolutely print here? They're trying. Monster move. Let's just scan through some of these charts here. Nvidia is trying, but guys, it looks like there's some selling going on in Nvidia today. We're slightly negative. It's kind of neck and neck with the Qs. So what I'm looking for here, guys, is does Nvidia start underperforming the Qs? So right now they're kind of neck and neck around that 0.3, 0.26. But if Nvidia starts to underperform the Qs, that is troublesome because the Qs are showing relative weakness today compared to SPY and the Russell. So if Nvidia starts to show more relative weakness than the Qs, and right now Microsoft is showing more relative weakness than the Qs, then that is a big problem for this equity market and indices. SPY right now is just teetering on negative territory. Just teetering. And there is an aggressive long off of this 621.56 level, guys. If you want to take a long on SPY, let me get this chain open here. So there is an aggressive long trade on SPY, guys, piercing this 621.50 zone. Pierce this zone, and there's an aggressive long trade on SPY that I'm actually considering here. Marvell continuing to push up here. Let's go, Marvell. Keep pushing. Keep pushing. Come on. Guys, I might take a potential stab on a this is very, very risky. Very, very risky on SPY. Buying, let me just see here. Buying the 621 0 DTE calls. Piercing this level here. So a pierce of the 621.50. That would be a liquidity sweep of this main pivot reversal. I would get into a half position on the 621 calls. Okay? So that's what I'm now looking at. 0 DTE. They're a little bit more expensive than our previous entry on the 624 puts. But I'm very interested. Half position because I want to leave myself maneuverability in the event that we flush to this pivot here. So I'm looking at 621 0 DTEs on SPY. But we're going to take out this low. I think we're going to flush here, guys. It could be quick. We'll see. So just understand that. Right now, the trend is down in the market. We are well below the opening range low. We're underneath the volume point of control. We're putting in lower highs and lower lows. So just understand that when we're trading the call option side, we're going against the near-term trend. It's very risky. So remember, we traded with the trend up here when we shorted. Now we're going to try to bottom tick this market a little bit. And I don't even think this is the low. I think this is just a tradable low off of the open. So get ready because it could be a quick knife through this area. Marvell acting well here, guys. Anyone that's still in Marvell, nice to see that pushing here. Good to see that that's pushing. Oscar's coming in here. Oklo's trying to make a move higher here. Pepsi looking strong here, guys. Netflix is still negative. China stocks are going through a bit of backing and filling. Let's look at some of these bank stocks from this morning. Bank of America near the lows. That's not looking too good. PGR still holding the majority of its gains, up 1.5%. Tesla still trying to push higher here. Nvidia going through a bit more top wick selling, guys. Marvell's still curling to the upside. So right now we have crude oil down 1%. We have nat gas up 2.1%. The Dixie's slightly green. Yields are soft on the session. Bitcoin's green by about 0.77%. SPY is slightly green, but really flat on the session. The Qs are negative because of SMH and ASML. Qs are down 0.34%. IWM is green by 0.47%. nvidia is down by 0.25%. Microsoft is down by 0.6%. Apple showing some strength today, up 0.88%. Amazon down by 0.68%. Meta slightly negative, down by about 0.5%. Tesla showing some strength today, up 1.9%. Coinbase seeing strength. JP Morgan still green. Carvana up 1.66%. SMH still down 1.72%. My oh my. Whoa, ASML is now down 11. Holy. This is crazy. ASML now down 11%. They're just absolutely dumping this institutions. So look at this. This was our long level, guys, on ASML. We've swept that low. Wow. That's our long level. Sweep that low. I said pre-market, let it sweep that. If you want to take an aggressive long, I'm going to stay out of the way of this one. But this is the day trade long level on ASML. I'm going to prefer to stick with SPY. I like that level a little bit better if we sweep this. But ASML, I mean, monster move down. Monster move down on ASML. That's nasty. That's a huge weighting. All right, here comes SPY, guys. Get ready for SPY. I'm looking at 621 calls at a pierce of this zone. Ooh, ASML is actually coming into the daily 200 moving average. I like that level better. I actually might take a stab on ASML. Around 626, guys, is your daily 200 MA. 626 on ASML looks quite intriguing. That's a much better level. I'm glad I threw it up on my other chart. All right, get ready for some SPY longs here. This is very aggressive, guys. Remember, size accordingly. I'm only going in with a half position once we pierce 621.50. So we're about 29 cents away here. 20 cents away. Still holding long Marvell, and that's moving up nicely, guys. So 621.50, guys, I get into the 621 zeros on SPY. ASML getting rocked. Ooh, that's filthy. That is filthy on ASML. Come on, SPY, knife it, knife it, knife it, knife it, knife it, knife it, knife it. Take us through. I want to pick up some calls here. Yep, 621 calls, zeros. That's what I'm looking at. Half position, because we could even flush down to the 621 zone. But I want to let it pierce this area. 621.50 pierce, and I'm getting into 621 zeros. You can see that there's quite a bit of support here. You're already getting some buying action. I'm not in yet. It never hit my level. I'm being diligent and waiting. But you can see that that was a nice sweep of the low there on SPY. Muhammad Ali saying SPY 100% hitting 624 today. I wouldn't be so sure of that. You have a crazy amount of weakness in the SMH. And nvidia is barely down. nvidia is barely down. And you have a crazy amount of weakness. So I still think that nvidia has to go through more selling. But we'll see. I mean, we'll see if we want to press higher. I'm still think we go lower on the session today. Just remember, we've had a very strong rally to the upside. Yes, we're still in a very strong uptrend, and we could easily hit 624, but what is weak today? Just like what kept the market, so what kept the market strong yesterday was your semiconductors. Now we're flipping the script. what's kind of dampening this market and showing weakness today is your semiconductors. So even with the sell-off late into the session yesterday, semiconductors are still ripping and roaring. And today you do have a little bit of participation from your home builders, materials, some biotech, some staples. Obviously Tesla and Apple are still moving here. But the weakness in the semiconductors should not be overlooked, guys. Should not be overlooked. Nice bounce there on SPY. Marvell continuing to push here, guys, going for a little bit of an opening range breakout candle. So if you're in those $69 calls, you're absolutely printing here. All right, considering we just missed this level, guys. We just missed this level. This is a short zone here, aggressive short zone. So I'm going to lower my entry by about 25 cents since we had a really big bounce. And in case the market wants to flush here, guys, basically I'm going to keep a stop loss on these Marvell shares, guys. I'm going to keep a break-even stop loss right on these Marvell shares, guys. 68.64. In the event that we break this and go lower, I will always look to reaccumulate and get a little bit lower. But I'm going to put a break-even stop loss on these Marvell commons, guys, just in case the market wants to go a little lower. No, I don't believe there is. Tel's negative on the session. Ford's still going through some distribution. Again, this is a short zone on SPY, guys. If you're wanting to get into some put options, I'm just going to trade it slowly today. We've already made a nice chunk off of the open, and we're still in profit on Marvell, in profit on our nvidia puts, in profit on our semiconductor SOXS. ASML still trying to bounce here. But ASML could still go to 726. 726 is your daily 200 moving average. That's the bigger level on ASML. Here we have nvidia still trying to go a little bit lower. A little bit lower. Let me fix up the screen here. Come on, nvidia. Here we go. Dump it, nvidia. Dump it. Come on. You're sitting right on this apex of this wedge. Take our puts. Again, we're in the 172.50 puts for next week, guys, on nvidia. And again, if SPY loses that prior day low, guys, we're sitting just slightly above it. We're looking very weak here, guys. We could see a pretty big down move in the equity markets today. Weakness in semis should be monitored very closely, guys. Weakness in semis should be monitored very closely. Don't expect the S&P and the NASDAQ to hold up here if nvidia drops quite sharply here. Quite sharply. I still think we're going to get some new low of days. You have your SMH down 1.69 and nvidia is barely sold off. So let's see if we can get some more lower price action. I think at minimum, you have the SMH probably hitting this trend line. You can see the SMH is probably going to tag 284.38 today, guys. That's why I'm thinking there's more downside in this tape. This is just simple trend line analysis. Just simple. Obviously, nothing goes down in a straight line. There's still a lot of people trying to buy the dip in this market, but I think SMH heads to this area. 284.40, 284.50. So about another dollar, call it $1.30, $1.40 drop to the downside. Hey, look at Marvell. Huge wick. Huge wick, guys. I would suggest if you're in call options, lock in some profits because I do think that this tape is probably going to take another down leg here. And why is it going to take another down leg? Well, simply because of nvidia. Breaking. New low of day nvidia. Now you have what I was talking about. nvidia is now underperforming the Qs, guys. This is where you get nasty. This is where you get really nasty. SPY is still holding steady, but SPY is going to break that prior day because nvidia is starting to sell. nvidia puts are absolutely waking up here, guys. Beautiful. Dump it, dump it. Dump it, dump it. Still seeing some buy the dip. Still seeing some buy the dip. Neo's getting rocked today. NIO. Tesla's still doing well. That's up 1.5%. Apple's ripping here. That's up 1.38. Apple taking a bit of the liquidity from the semiconductors today. ASML still selling, going lower. Google trying to push up here. Let's look at Google. Look at Apple's breakout attempt here. That's starting to rip here, Apple. Very strong move on Apple. Let's look at SMCI. Nice little dip there. Marvell still trying to firm up here. Come on, Marvell. Push, push, push. Yeah, Apple's definitely helping SPY, but I think you're still going to see lower. I'm still seeing SMH and semis go lower here, guys. But you're getting some participation, and this is why you're getting some divergence between SPY and the Qs, right? Qs are so weighted in semis right now. Potential little bear flag here on the Qs. SMH getting a little bit of a buy the dip. But I'm telling you, nvidia's going to probably go lower today. I could see nvidia down over 1% today. Maybe even more. But it's just a slow drip here on nvidia. And this is what institutions like to do. They don't want to really panic. I've kind of seen this playbook happen on Nvidia where the Nvidia selling, it doesn't happen sharp and fast until really the end of the day. That's where they really like to drop it hard. But Nvidia could just go through a slow grind all day where it traps in more long liquidity. Nice little move down here on Nvidia. Here we go. New low of day there, Nvidia. New low of day. Let's see where this SMH wants to go, guys. You heard it here. SMH wants this trend line. SMH wants that trend line, guys. AMD dripping a little lower here. Micron still weak on the session. Your SOXX, let's see that chart. SOXX is into a bit of support here. But SOXX probably wants to sweep this low today. Obviously, there's still accumulation occurring in SPY. There's definitely pockets of strength in this market. Definitely pockets of strength. Let's look at some of these sectors here, guys. You can see regional banks are green, transports, industrials, retail, communications, financials, real estate, utilities, healthcare, consumer discretionary. So there's quite a bit of green in this tape. Staples, tech, industrials, energy, and materials are showing weakness. Tesla now up 2% on the session. Come on, Tesla, give us a new high of day. Tesla's going to give us a new high of day. Tesla wants to tap this trend line, guys. 319, 320 maybe, Pierce. Tesla's definitely shaking and moving. Nvidia catching a nice stick here. So decent push here in the markets. A really decent push. Looks like it's ready for its next little leg higher, guys. TP3 on Oklo coming into play here. Uranium stocks looking quite well, or nuclear stocks, uranium stocks. So Oklo should make another move higher here, guys. We could really see it squeeze. Again, Marvell coming through a little bit of selling here. Just be mindful. Semis are still weak. Google going for another new high of day. Let's get these 185s in the money. Come on, Google. Google's making up for my meta trade. So our Google 185s, guys, for August, they're absolutely printing. We're up over 135% on our Google calls. Muhammad Ali asking, AMD 148 bounce. Well, let's take a look. Nvidia just printed another little new low a day there. Coming down. Nvidia underperforming the Qs, guys. That's a big, big negative for this tape. Let's look at AMD for Muhammad Ali. 148. Oh, 148's a long way away, right? Let's take a look. That's a long way away. This is the thing about these semis, right? There's a lot of semis that have so much volume off of these gap ups to eat through. But 148, I mean, it depends. For a day trade, perhaps it is. It just really depends on how it gets into there. So if you flushed hard into 148, and it's really, it's all relative. Levels are all relative, right? You know, you could bounce at 150, you could bounce at 151, you could bounce at 149. It's all relative. It really depends on what time frame you're looking at, how big of a profit margin you're going for, if it's a swing trade, if it's a scalp. You know, some people scalp 10 cents. Some people want to scalp a full dollar. So it's all relative in time and price. And that's why some people can be right, some people can be wrong. It's all relative. So in terms of a bounce level, if you're putting in the chat, just say whether you're looking at a day trade or a swing trade. You know, 148, sure, you could bounce on 148 if AMD were to knife into that today hard and fast, but I mean, I'm not really seeing anything really else at 148. I wouldn't buy it long there for a swing trade. But yeah, if you knifed hard in for a day trade, I'd consider it. It's quite a ways away. Alright, SPY still consolidating, kind of above this prior day low. I no longer like this aggressive long level on SPY, guys. I'm going to take that away. I'm going to keep it there just to mark to see how we react at that level, but I no longer like it there because we've bounced. Now you're putting in a bit of bearish consolidation. See, pre-market low on SPYs all the way down to 620.90. Do they want to take us there? Perhaps. Marvell still holding steady. Qs are still down by 0.2. Microsoft and nvidia are underperforming. Tesla's absolutely trying to fly here and break out. Come on, Marvell. BA bearish. Let's take a look at BA, Boeing. Yeah, it's looking that way, but just give me a second here, Anonymous. Don't short this yet. It's still tough short. One high there, another high, another high. It should make one more high here, BA. I'm at least seeing one more high. I mean, it's definitely looking bearish intraday, but you have a weak tape, right? Qs are weak. I mean, SPY's flat, so it's kind of trading with the market right now. Still a tough short. It still could go higher. You know, if you want to try shorting it, just keep a very tight stop loss. Any sort of a close back above these highs, you would have to exit. But I think it can push up actually, BA. You're testing this opening range low. You're technically at intraday support. So, if If you want to try to short it, just keep a tight stop loss. I think it's trying to do a bit of a liquidity sweep. You can see it's holding this trend line for the time being, right? You do have some support here on the 5-minute chart. Obviously, it's weak. But it's still a strong, larger time frame. But if you want to try shorting it, just keep that tight stop loss. It is coming down right now. But this is technically a little bit of a long level. 5-minute little reversal. I'd be more inclined to trade on the long side. And then really your stop loss on the long side is going to be if you get a 5-minute close below this area. So I'd be more inclined to trade it long here. And this is your 5-minute impulse candle that you want to maintain structure above. So just be careful if you're looking to short it. Maybe there's some news on Shopify here. Yeah, I do love those. Look at Shopify. Oh my god. Yeah, that's one of my go-to setups is failed breakouts, peekaboos, liquidity sweeps. That's what institutions do, right? Very, very strong manipulation. Shopify mooning here. Marvell's just stuck here. We're still green on the trade. Had a little bit of a pullback, perhaps shaping up for its next little leg higher here. Tesla absolutely rocketing here right into that resistance level. This is where things get interesting for the markets because stocks are kind of hitting more of their upside targets here. And I'm actually looking at paring back some of my Google call options here, guys. Still strong, trying to get above prior day. This market I think is somewhat potentially a little bit vulnerable because of semis. Look at Tessie. Yeah, Boeing's still coming lower there, Anonymous. You look, 3-minute looks to be like it rejected at yesterday's high. Yeah, it definitely did. Hard rejection for sure. See what SPY's doing here. SPY trying to push up. Again, you are into this aggressive short zone on SPY. I would consider taking another short on SPY. Really, where would I look for now? Kind of sweeping back inside of this opening range low. I would consider shorting SPY, getting into 624 0 DTEs again if we tap this trend line. So call it 623.50, maybe even a pierce to this trend line. I would consider shorting SPY again, guys. But a nice move up on Tesla there. Guys, I just trimmed half of my Google call options, my 185 calls for August 22nd. 135% profit. Just locking in a bit of gains on this, just because I'm seeing the S&P a little vulnerable here. That's a nasty little rejection there, guys, on SPY. Remember, break even stop loss for me on Marvell as well. That's a filthy rejection there. Maybe SPY's kind of interesting here. Very weird looking potential inverse head and shoulders. But just as an FYI, guys, I just trimmed about 135% profit on half of my Google 185 calls. We still have a ton of time left on that strike date. Still have the half of my contracts for the August 22nd. But because I think that there's some weakness creeping into the tape here, I just want to be a little bit slightly defensive. Slightly defensive. Again, I still think nvidia is going to go lower. QQQ right now, still looking somewhat weak. And SPY's weird here because maybe an inverse head and shoulders on SPY. Very micro trading pattern. They're probably going to try to break out this little inverse head and shoulders. If you want to take a long here and use your prior day low as a stop loss, they're probably going to try to break SPY out here and tap this trend line. Take us back to kind of this opening range low. I'm not looking to do it, but that's what I could see. Tesla's still strong, up 2.57%. Let's look at ASML again. That's trying to hold steady and bounce a little bit. I'll stay on for another few more minutes, guys, but since we've already made some money on the day trading front, take a little bit of a break. And obviously, if anything crazy happens where I see more opportunities, I will jump back on. Let's look at this SPX chart. You can see SPX, right? Let's go to the 15-minute. Quite a bit of support here on SPX that we're now trading into. Definitely a lot of support. But it looks like SPY and SPX want this gap fill. Just rip the band-aid off and take us down there, please. We want that gap to be filled. That supports higher price. That does support higher price on SPY. But we're just sandwiched right in between this little support and resistance zone. Which way are we going to break? Again, semiconductors have not fulfilled their downside move, guys. SMH still needs to go lower on the session. SMH does need to go lower. You can see the Q rejection right off of that previous gap fill, right off of the top of this channel. How deep do they want to take these Qs? Marvell's still acting well. Tesla still trying to push here. Nice volume on Tesla. Bum, bum, ba-dum, dum, dum. stuck here. QQQ still getting rejected off of its opening range. SPY, it does appear like it wants to go a little bit lower. Based off of this consolidation on SPY, it looks like we're going to sweep this low pivot here. And your bigger level really comes now into the 621 Pierce zone and your gap fill. Remember, there is a head and shoulders target on SPY that takes us down to potentially 616, 617 Pierce. Want them to really drop nvidia here. Tesla still near the highs of the session. That's doing very well. nvidia coming back down again. Georgiana saying very reversing from the downtrend. Let's look at very. Sorry, I'm a little late on that one. Yeah, look at that. Monster move up 10% on the session. Squeezing today. VERI. Don't really know much about this company. 89 million market cap volume today. A little thin for me. 775,000, but it does trade an average of 1.2 million shares. Where is this stock going? A little bit of breakout being observed. Look at that little peekaboo breakout right there. Quite interesting. A pretty solid resistance level here. This is where you had your huge impulse move. I mean, this stock could absolutely run. Very strong downtrend. But it could absolutely move here. So as long as you stay above this 166, which we're testing right now, there's a potential squeeze. Georgiana looking for a target price of $7. Oh my gosh. On this very, not today, but I don't really know. It's a tough one. It's in such a downtrend, they dilute this one all the time. Not sure where it wants to go. Near-term pattern, you have this interesting inverse head and shoulders, I would say. So you are triggering a bit of a breakout here. I mean, that's really the only target I can give you. 213-ish. Just a rough calculation there. $213. That kind of coincides with... Now the stupid inverse head and shoulders in the way. Yeah, that kind of coincides with your 382 fib retrace zone. Let's take a peek on my other screen here. Yeah, you're actually above the 50-day moving average. Your daily 200 sits at 260. So this one could squeeze. It's not my type of play, but Georgiana, it's a good observation. It's breaking out for sure of a, first of all, out of a long downtrend, as well as an inverse head and shoulders. So as long as you maintain structure, in my opinion, above, well, this neckline does look like an interesting candidate to go long, and it does have quite a bit of squeeze potential. Ticker VERI. And again, that is a very small stock. Commercial services, advertising, and marketing, I really know nothing about it. Veritone is maintained at a buy by Deep Capital. So it's a micro cap stock, guys, just as an FYI. But it does look like it has upside. So report all your wins, split it with Georgiana, bill her if you lose. But it does look pretty interesting from a long standpoint. Nice little observation. And you are above the 50-day moving average, which is actually a nice little technical sign. You've been rejected at the 50 moving average a couple of times here. So the fact that you're getting above it with some clear force is a decent. Alright, so they are just burning theta here, guys. No real big trending movements yet. QQQ. Georgiana's holding it. Nice. Yeah, I think, as $1.67, it's treated like an option play. It's worth a little shot. I mean, I could easily see it hitting to 250. There's at least about a 50% upside move. And your defined risk, you can keep that. You can keep today's impulse green candle as your stop loss around call it $1.50. So you're risking about 18 cents to the downside and potentially about $1 to the upside. That's a good R&R. It's a good R&R. Remind me about it in a couple sessions. See if it holds itself. Alright, so we have, what do we have going? Tesla. Tesla's still ripping here, guys. Look at that, new high of day. Boom. 340 calls are flying. Come on, Tessie. Tesla's breaking out here, guys. What is coming? Is there a news event? Are we getting a short squeeze? Are we triggering a potential larger inverse head and shoulders, guys? Let's draw this inverse head and shoulders a little bit better. My lines are all crooked. Fix this, shall we? Shoulders on Tesla, it's there. There's definitely that larger pattern at play. Hasn't triggered. But if we get to this neckline and this breaks out, I mean, you got some crazy upside targets on Tesla. We're talking 400 plus, 440. So we're only riding the 340 strike zone, which I think is very doable. That's just right ahead of this inverse head and shoulders. This is why I took that level. So my plan on Tesla, if we hit this 340 strike zone, we're likely going to get a test of this trend line, this little neckline. Probably get a little, again, anonymous, a peekaboo breakout, and then a rejection. What we look for is that pullback, that liquidity sweep of the breakout. You buy the pullback, you roll your profits if we get in profit. Right now we are in profit. But if we roll our profits out of the 340 into a higher strike, that's how we play this. So I'm still looking for a big move up in Tesla over the coming weeks, next 3 months. And then we look to roll this trade out, up and out into some farther dated, maybe 2026 strike dates, and obviously higher strike prices. Ba-dum-bum. Ba-dum-bum. Alright, nvidia is seeing more selling, guys. nvidia is seeing more selling. Take us lower. This is a very controlled selling day. Very controlled. Guys, nvidia news. Here we go. Drop the behemoth down. Take us downtown. Come on. Take us down. SPY getting knifed. Down below prior day low. SPY seeing some heavy volume. Anonymous saying, I chased Apple and I'm getting punished for it. Yikes. Yeah, apple to apple. Ooh, that's filthy. Yeah, that's filthy. Apple's a crazy stock that way. Whoa, look at that big bounce in SPY. Boom. New low of day, just an absolute monster. We should go lower, guys. We should go lower. But look at that bounce on nvidia. Right ahead of prior day low. Every single dip is still being bought. You can see with the level that we're tagging on nvidia. nvidia has triggered head and shoulders, knees and toes. AMD's now down by 0.78. Still have nvidia underperforming, guys, the Qs, so that's still a little bit of a telltale sign that these indices can be vulnerable to more downside. Come on, nvidia, go lower. I want you lower. I want you lower. Buy's still hanging on to green price action. Wow. This is squeezing. Open's going through a bit of a short squeeze here, guys. Monster. 23% short interest. Probably a little less right now, but wow. Looks like it wants this gap fill at minimum. Interesting. Very interesting. Let's look at that IWM again. SPY heading lower, guys. This is what I've been warning you about. This is what I've been warning you about. You're gonna sweep this low. You're gonna sweep it. We had a long level on SPY. Whoops. Our long level was sandwiched right in here. 621.25 was our long level. But I'm no longer interested in that. I'm no longer interested in that. The only real tradable long level, guys, that I would take this morning is into this gap fill. That's where I'd go long SPY. The Qs could head to today. Well, let's just look at some things. This is the bearish target. Qs want to tap this trend line, guys. And then if things get really nasty, you have two little levels here on the Qs. Trying to push, guys. Marvell trying to push. Come on. Pump it. Pump it. So we nailed both of our pre-market setups. Short SPY off the open, 44% and 75%. Trims and profits. Nice gain there. Marvell longs are working quite well. We telegraphed both of those trades. Those were really the only two trades that we were interested in. We're obviously swinging quite a few member positions, as well as nvidia puts from yesterday, SOXS from yesterday, which were up nicely. In terms of where I'm looking for a trim, guys, on SOXS, I want to see it sweep this liquidity high here. So this is my target. Whoops. Target sweep. So if SOXS pushes up into this area, then that's where I look for a trim, guys. Securing profit on these $7 common shares. Alright? So you kind of know where my expectations is. That should coincide with the SMH falling into this trend line, so we still got quite a bit lower. nvidia obviously has some bear targets still to the downside that we're slowly just grinding into. Georgiana looking at Citigroup. Yeah, Citi reversing here. It's still very extended. This is an earnings shenanigan pop. I think you're right. It's going to go back to this 82.50 zone. Yeah, we were riding the put options. We took some profits off that initial dip. Got stopped out on the remaining half of Citi. It is into another short level for sure. That should come in quite sharply. JP Morgan triggering that bear flag. JP Morgan's reminding me of what Netflix did here. Obviously totally different sectors, but Netflix had that initial down move, bear flag, and now a drop. JP Morgan's looking exactly like that. Morgan Stanley getting absolutely demolished, looking like a 3-bar surge down. Let's look at BAC. Bank of America, same thing, looking absolutely filthy. Regional banks are at the lows, looking absolutely filthy. See PNC Financial. Yeah, that's looking nasty as well. IWM needs to go lower itself. But in the near term, it's holding steady, trying to push up, still inside of its range as opposed to SPY. SPY's trading at the lower end of its range. QQQ, obviously still stuck under that gap. We could take away that short zone. That's no longer in play for us. You can see the Qs are trying to bounce here. And QQQ does appear to be putting in a bear flag. Alright guys, I'm going to take a break. Grab an early lunch. It's been a pleasure trading with you in the morning session. We will be back for Power Hour. Obviously, if anything drastic happens and I sense an opportunity, like we get a hard flush on the NASDAQ, call into this 552, or if we get a hard flush on SPY, call it into that gap fill, I will hop on and execute a day trade with you. Muhammad Ali saying he took 30% on a SPY call. Nice job. Good scalping there. Just recognize the trend in the market is still down. SPY is still underneath its opening range low. It's being defended off of its prior day low, but we should head lower. We're underneath that volume point of control. Next major swing trading level on SPY is kind of around appears of 618. Between 617 and 616 is your next area for, I think, some SPY swing trade calls. Right now, it's just all scalping and very short-term price point movements, I think. All right, let's tune you into some other traders here.
What a cool name. Sounds like a villain.
I'm loving these that they're hitting gold now. Let's bring back my leaps to life.
Yeah, I'm in the PGR by +3 from there.
Yeah, I picked up some commons. I think I'm gonna add the ELV today too.
I'm just gonna wait till after the earnings to touch out ELV. I have some calls.
I trim my profits on Tempest.
I'm gonna probably add to ELV, but leave room to add more in case the earnings don't go well. But it's at I like the valuation here a lot, and I like the chart a lot, so I'm gonna probably just DCA some more.
Yeah, the valuation is ferociously getting cheaper and cheaper.
Yep, it's really good. Now the Medicaid stuff is tough, but I'm thinking that a lot of that's got to be priced in down here.
Yeah, I just don't know enough about that shit.
Google new high day.
Yeah, I think good chance 187, but I just bought the 200s for next week, so I essentially sold my weeklies right now.
So what do you guys think would happen to IWM, to the Russell, if they fired Fed? Would that one rip, but everything else dump?
Dude, that would crumble.
I guess, yeah, because bonds would skyrocket.
Bonds would scream.
I hope it happens, dude. I am positioned for fucking him to fire the Fed, but I don't really want it to happen.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat as you. Position-wise, it'd be great, but
Fuck it, he's
that's gonna
Taco.
impact
Fuck it, he's
people's
Taco,
lives.
man. I let it happen.
Let's talk about it, bro.
Taco's cheap.
Just
Yep.
he'll just come when the market drops fucking 3% in a day on that news. He'll just say, "Oh, I'm just kidding," but just drop the
Just
fucking
kidding, yeah.
rates.
I don't know who released that, but it wasn't me. It's AI.
I'm still waiting for the Simpsons theory to play out. They predicted that Trump was going to bankrupt the U.S. Just going to see if it's there. Nosferatu.
Yo, Tesla is at 320 right now. This thing is moving.
Yeah, it's strong today, Tesla.
Yeah. Next level on SPY to the upside is 623.24 and then 623.80. Did it hit that?
For what it's worth, Bessent was on Bloomberg yesterday, and he said they're not firing the Fed.
All right, SPY just hit that 623.24. Next target 623.80.
Oh shit! Look at GLD. The 15-minute, those are increased volume and some beautiful green candles.
Oh yeah. What the hell? That's some serious volume too. 308.71. Yeah, this going to 310. 309.33, then 310.05 on gold GLD. Come on, SPY.
I'm back in my queues. 22 cents.
Alright, that SPY 625 Addo is beautiful. Yes, sir.
Oh damn! I step away for 2 seconds, get stopped out of my the rest of my puts, and now the market is pumping.
Yep.
Are we going higher?
We are.
Magoo edition?
There was nothing there to push that candle down. I don't think that was anything. So that was a tree shake. Whatever it was a tree shake.
A
Now
tree
they're gonna run it.
shake. Yeah,
I'll
Magoo
go.
edition,
I'll go
baby.
tripping.
We're going Magoo edition
That's a
right
new
now.
one. That's a tree shake.
Yeah, I've never heard of that one.
You
Is
guys
that a
literally
Colombian
never heard.
terminology?
No,
Any-
that's a stock market.
You guys get
That's a
any?
stock.
You got anybody get any coconuts out of that tree
It's
shake?
exactly. They shake the tree, which all the little 1 minute chart guys jump out, and then they run it back up. It's a tree shake. That's literally. J Dash can back me up. He knows.
Never heard of it.
That's a-
Never heard of it.
Oh, you
Never
son of a
ever
bitch.
heard
Of
of it.
course. Of course you do that. They shake the tree, peeps. They shake the tree. It's a normal market. Anyways, we'll move on. I'm always right.
Google's above yesterday's high. Looks like it's leading. That and
Yeah, nice
Tesla.
call. Nice call.
Nah, it's not. I mean, these premiums are really not moving that much.
They don't until they do, right? Like Google's fucking.
I know.
It's a dip.
Like, it's frustrating even watching this right now, but
I don't know. Some of our DM guys, I put a interesting chart pattern on a company I really like in the pharma sector. I've never ever used Wyckoff pattern, but I think this one maybe deserves it. So I put it. It's just interesting. So I put it to our DMs.
Let me know if there's a good tree shake, and I'll get on.
Damn.
Tree
I mean,
shaking
have
happens all the time in the markets, bro.
I,
Those are when all
I shake a tree every day. I'm
the
an
Momo,
environmentalist.
the
You
Momo.
shake it more than
not,
twice,
not,
you're playing with
not
yourself.
hugging a tree, bro. That's tree hugging, Kevin. Get your
I might play with it. I might play with it a little bit. Fuck it. Shit.
you assaulted.
Yo, what just happened in here, bro? I'm so confused.
We shaking trees, bro. We shaking trees.
Turn environmentalist in here. All right, I see you guys.
You're a tree hugger, big cat.
oh, there's another big candle down. What the fuck?
Nah, I said tree shaker, bro.
Yo, look at gold right now. GLD, it's moving. 310.
Wow. What
Yeah,
the hell is
gold
going on?
GLD. Look at what. And SPY is dumping. Whoa.
Gold futures absolutely screaming.
SPY is dumping right now too. What just happened? Damn, my SPY puts just went.
I'm done.
What?
I'm done for the day.
Everything's selling.
Yeah, what the hell is this? Yeah, boy.
Maybe he is going to fire him.
Yeah, boy. Sell this.
Yeah, I'm out as well. This is a stupid day.
Yeah, it is.
At least for
Good job,
day
guys.
trading.
I'll see you later. I'm gonna go to the gym.
Whoa, SPY drilling 620. Oof.
And this is
Gotta get
crazy.
your
So
swings
it
on,
pushes
brothers.
and stops me out of my puts. Then this bitch drills. Ain't that a bitch? Drills.
620 and 59. Yo, look at this thing. Even vol deep, there's a massive red candle. What?
The spread on gold right now is
Man.
insane.
Go ahead.
No, I was just saying the
Go ahead.
spread is
What was the
over
spread on
$1
gold?
on GLD.
So Trump likely to fire Powell soon. So yeah, man, I'm finna get us some puts and let this bitch drill.
Yeah, these 620 they're went from 154 to 260.
Oh my goodness.
Ethereum.
What did you guys do to the market? That's crazy. Who rug pulled? It's exactly what we were looking for. What the heck's the news, guys? Is it around Trump? Is Trump speaking? I just wanted to step away and grab some lunch, and now we're back getting some action here. What a big dump there. Trump and J. Powell. Bang, bang. Well, nvidia is still holding steady here. You've had SPY go negative. Interesting to see the Qs holding up a little bit better than SPY, but we should go lower on the Qs, guys. Should go lower on SPY. SPY's coming into a nice little long level. nvidia's still holding steady. Good little move on our SOXS, almost spiking into that target price, guys. Something is going on. Apparently, Parley Markets odds spiked for firing Powell. I don't understand this. I mean, Trump can't even fire Powell. It's one of those things that I don't think Trump can. Muhammad hit that put. Beautiful. I don't unless there's some sort of a what's the word I'm looking for? Wow, IWM getting wrecked here. Qs are getting wrecked. Unless there's some sort of an executive order, I don't think Trump can even touch Powell. It's all speculation. All right, guys, we're into that gap fill. We're into that gap fill. Let it pierce that zone. But we are hitting some technical support here. I'm only, the Qs still have a little bit, but we are hitting support. This is a long level. All right, guys. I'm in the SPY 620 DTEs. I repeat, that's a nice little pierce, guys. So starter position, I will add if we flush into this area. But I'm in the SPY 620 DTEs. Here we go. Crazy volatility. We are going lower here. I will add right down here on SPY around 619. We're absolutely knifing to the downside. We're about to almost be at a trim level for our SMH, our SOX. SMH is piercing that zone, guys, so we are hitting support here. Check the Dixie. Wow. Wow. Crazy moves, guys. This can't just be off of Powell. I'm shocked if this is just off. Yeah, yields are also falling here. Buy calls. Down slightly on the position right now. We'll add if we hit this lower boundary 619 zone. Guys, I just trimmed half of my SOXS up there. It's hit that target, guys. SOXS hit target, guys. Sorry, there's not enough time to type it and manage right now. But I did trim half of my SOXS, guys. Beautiful. And we're now starting to go green on our trade here. Let's see if we can get some more. Come on, SPY. Let's pump it. Come on. We're pushing. We're pushing. Still a lot of volatility here. Downside gap has been filled. It's still a hard move down there on SPY. So we are riding the 620 DTEs, half position long, $1.49 entry. We were in profit, but we're melting lower. Again, I will double this position, tapping this lower boundary zone. That was a big knife down there. Dollar dropping, gold spiking, yields dropping. Tesla still holding steady. SMCI down a couple percent. We knifed through the gap. This is a hard sell-off in the equity markets, but enough for us to make a 0 DTE trade here. We're back to the green side. Yeah, yields. The 2-year yield absolutely knifed, guys. So this is where you have a blowout of the 10 and 2. That spread that we've been discussing over the last couple days, it's blowing out. The 2-year yield is collapsing. 10-year yield still staying firm. So this is a sign that the Federal Reserve is losing control over the short end of the curve. So the Federal Reserve losing control over the short end of the curve. The market doesn't like that. And you can see that the divergence between the 10 and 2 has widened drastically today. It's another 1.6% blowout of the curve. So that typically means that when that spread starts to widen of the 10 and 2, bad things happen. All right, we're nicely green on this trade, guys. One more little push higher on SPY and I'll be looking to exit my calls. All right, guys, there it is. I'm all out at $1.80. All out of my SPY calls at $1.80. Another successful trade there, guys. Boom. Beautiful. Beautiful. Everyone even had an opportunity to catch a better entry than me. Nice 31-cent gain on those SPY calls, guys. Beautiful. Beautiful little gain there on the long side. All right, guys, I am going to go back to lunch here, but obviously news around Powell and Trump, and I don't think that Powell can be fired by Trump unless I'm wrong. I know that Fed chairs can be elected, but I don't think that they can be fired. I think he has to finish his term or step down. Nevertheless, SPY did go negative. Qs are still struggling, but holding steady. IWM's also gone negative. nvidia, surprisingly, during this panic, has seen a flight to safety and stabilized. You've had the SMH hit that target that I discussed. This was the target that we telegraphed for you well in advance. We took profits on our SOXS. That hit our upside target that we discussed. Our first trim, we swept some liquidity there. So beautiful little profit on SOXS there. I still think nvidia is going to go lower. So I'm still holding these put options, but obviously for the time being, it's settling down. But nice successful put option on SPY. Then we flip to the calls. We've made quite a bit of money today. You still have Marvell holding above our long entry. So you can see that our technical levels have been pretty sound today. Really, really good analysis. Again, thank you all for tuning in. Hopefully everyone caught that little long with us. But that gap on SPY was filled to the downside. So the gap was filled. We almost hit that lower boundary zone, but we have big problems in the equity markets, guys, and the bond market. The Fed losing control over the short end of the curve, what it appears to be. And that's blowing out the spread, guys. The 10-year yield spiking here. Spiking and trying to press as the 2-year yield, whoops, is collapsing. The divergence between the 10 and 2 is typically not healthy for stocks. Not healthy. Regional banks knife down there. Let's look at other banking stocks like JP Morgan. Oops, that's not JP Morgan. JP Morgan chart also took a hard knife down there. XLF still looking pretty weak today. Let's look at real estate stocks. They're holding steady. Gold spiking to the upside off of that news. Let's look at crude oil. Crude oil dumping. Let's look at uranium. Uranium's still near the highs. Oklo trying to make another move higher here. Tesla's still doing well in the face of this short end of the curve dropping. So Tesla likes the short end of the rates dropping, but typically when you have that 10 and 2-year blowout, look at that Dixie drop, guys. My, oh my. Let's look at some emerging markets. StoneCo, STNE. STNE is a bit of an arbitrage opportunity down here with that Dixie falling sharply. I actually might take some upside calls on this name. It's looking somewhat interesting. Yep. Guys, I like STNE. Upside calls here. I'm going to try to enter. I've been waiting for an entry in this name. Backtesting some support here. It's risky, but I like it. Entered some call options in StoneCo, STNE down here. $15 calls for August 15th. With that Dixie dropping, we should see some emerging markets catch a bit of a bid. So STNE looks interesting here. SPY still near the lows, guys. Look at that retest. All right, SPY coming back down. I would consider another day trade long here, guys. I'm going to stay with you guys because we're getting some action here. But SPY coming in hard here again. Next level is a sweep of this low. I'm going to take 619 0 DTE calls, guys. Come on, drop us lower here. I really got to firm up the QQQ here. Qs are at the lows. Here we go, guys. I'm getting ready for SPY calls. 619 SPY calls are coming into effect here. Come on. Hit this channel. Hit it. Hit it. Hit it. A little lower. A little lower. Come on. Sweep that low a little bit more. You are seeing a little bit of buy the dip. Come on. Get close, guys. I'm getting very close. Here we go. Yeah, like yesterday's low. That's right. Things are getting absolutely dusted here. Nvidia starting to come in now. QQQ hitting some support here. Guys, there it is. I'm long SPY calls. Starter position. It's a half position. Half position. I'm long the 619 SPY calls. This is a very aggressive and risky trade. Nvidia is still melting. But I'm long 619 SPY calls. 0 DTE. $1.44. We're still going lower. I would add to the position basically at $1.15. $1 to $1.15 I'd add to these calls. We are still knifing. Nvidia going for a new low of day. QQQ at the lows. We are still absolutely. You have a volume shelf coming here. 617.76 is where I'd actually consider adding. That's your value area low on SPY. We are knifing even lower here. We're still at the lows. Markets are in trouble here. Qs are still going lower. Nvidia's hitting bear target 1, tapping 169. Our Nvidia puts are printing. Marvell stopped me out at break even, guys. Marvell stopped me out at break even. To SPY, I'm going to add right at this value area low. Double up my position and I won't add any more. Nvidia puts still printing, hitting bear target 1 on Nvidia. See if they want to bounce it. We are piercing some pretty hard levels. I did exit the full SOX position, guys, SOXS at 778. So I closed my full SOX position, SOXS, and I will add to my SPY calls around this purple line, 617.76. Excuse me. Whoa. We are seeing a little bit of buying off of this zone. I'm down by about 20 cents on these SPY calls, but that's really nothing compared to the move that we've had right now. We'll see if we get some positive price. But a nice move on our SOXS, guys. You swept those highs. I've locked in full profits at 778, just over 10.9%. Beautiful move from yesterday. SPY should get back into this little channel zone. Our calls are starting to move up here. We've violated some key levels on some of the bigger time frames here. That bearish target that we've been watching for quite some time is still coming into play. Nice bounce on SPY. Our 619s are back in the money, guys. Back in the money here. Here we go. We're ripping. We're starting to rip. If you're wanting to take profits here, by all means, let's see if we can get a little bit more. I'm looking for 619.50 first trim. Come on. A lot of selling hitting the tape. Still have those nvidia puts as well. Come on, SPY. Give us a little bit more. Give us a little bit more. We're in profit here on these SPY 619 calls. Here we go. I'm looking at first trim very shortly here. All right, guys, I just took first trim there at $1.66. $1.66 first trim. Beautiful. Move stop to break even. Next trim would be around 620. 620, guys, next trim. That's a nice bounce, guys. Boom. Let's go. Crushing it today. All right, guys. There's the next trim. I'm all out on that spike there. 620 was tapped. Just like I said, 620, I'm all out. Just in it for a short period. Boom. All out, guys. Stunning move. So there we go. We've done one put play on SPY. We've done two call options. We've nailed both in profits. Stunning, stunning trading, guys. Amazing. Everyone should have been able to make money today. Everyone. There's no reason why. We've telegraphed, and you could have got even better entries than me. That was amazing. Amazing, guys. Like I said, I would hop back on if there's opportunity. We got opportunity. We nailed two more trades on SPY. Absolutely stunning. Now let's see if they want to take this market lower. We still have nvidia that's remarkably holding up very well. Look at bear target 1 that was hit. Now we can target number 2, guys. This bearish target number 2 could hit today. The way the yield curve is blowing out, guys, is a big problem. Very big problem. Look at StoneCo trying to bounce here off of the lows. Come on, STNE. But the way this yield curve is blowing out, guys, between the two, there's a big problem. There's a big problem there. But what an epic bounce there on SPY. Pleasure doing business with all of you. And again, just a heads up, we closed all of our SOXS there at that 778 spike. All out of SOXS. Nice hedge. Still writing NVIDIA puts for next week. But we've hit target 1. I still want more. I still want more on NVIDIA. The July 25th, so we still got a bit of time here. Marvell trying to bounce here. Marvell's still holding that technical level that we gave. So you're still seeing some positive price, but we'll see if this market wants to hit this bearish target. I could still see SPY testing this value area low, trying to test this bearish target. So just be careful. Just be very, very careful. Check PGR. Yeah, PGR right now is still acting okay. It's very strong on the session. It's oversold. Yeah, it's reacting the opposite way. Very good observation. It's reacting opposite way like the market did counter-cyclical. That's right. And you have to remember, this is a very institutional-based stock. It's a proven business. It's still growing revenues. It's gone through its dividend distribution. It just had earnings. You're oversold. I think this is setting up for at least a move back into this 260 zone PGR. So I like it a lot, PGR. I do. Obviously, we're long PGR, but I do like PGR for more upside. So I think that we should get some, and you're sitting right on a massive volume zone. I mean, look at this volume that was traded in here. This is institutional accumulation zone. You've even swept this main pivot low on PGR. So that's where a lot of traders stopped out. Huge oversold condition on the daily. PGR, what am I writing? I'm writing the 260 call options for September at 6:30 a contract. September 19th, 260 call options. Look at that bounce on SPY. Oh, what an epic bounce. Anyone still in calls? You've printed. But we nailed those trades, guys. Stunning price action today. Really, really good trades all around. We're basically 4 for 4 in the live day trading room today. We banked on some swings. We've taken profits on some swings with members. But again, all right, that's enough action for me today. I will be back for Power Hour again, unless something happens, unless SPY rips back into this trend line, I would consider a short, or unless we fall into this bearish target, I'd consider a long. Unless we get another big move, I'm going to be back for Power Hour. All right. But just as a fundamental macro overview, the spread between the 2 and the 10 blowing out right now is very negative for equities. When the yield curve on the long end starts to move up drastically and blow out of that 50 basis point spread, that's a problem for equities. It's showing that there's no confidence in the Fed, that the Fed is making policy errors, that the long end bond market is starting to dictate Fed policy, and we could be in trouble in the macro environment. You're seeing the VIX today catching a nice bid. Gold is roaring to the upside. Commodities are catching a bid. Bitcoin's moving steady here. Stocks are all negative across the board, every indice. Banks are coming under pressure. Maybe there's a liquidity crisis in the near term with banks. I can't remember which bank it was, but there was one bank that I think it was Morgan Stanley yesterday that said that they borrowed, what was it, 200 billion? Oh no, it was Wells Fargo. Wells Fargo yesterday said they borrowed basically 200 billion to stay in business. Like, that's disgusting. Such a large bank in the States showing liquidity issues. And remember, that discount window. Let's look back at where that regional banking crisis occurred, right? So most people have forgotten about that regional banking crisis, but it was basically just over a year ago. A year and a few months, where the regional banks went through this crazy, crazy down move. And then the Fed opened up the discount window where banks could borrow. Well, that's gone, that discount window. So, are we going to see regional banks make a move back down to this mean reversion trend here? Pivot low. Could we see regional banks collapse over the coming months, down another 20%? Perhaps. Perhaps that's what's brewing. We could see that. But we're a long ways away. But nevertheless, that's my little 2 cents for the session. And again, congrats if you caught those longs with us. Congrats if you caught the short off the open. Good job trading Marvell. We've picked a really strong stock. But what a bounce there.
Like 165 and shorted some leap puts at the same time to kind of get the cost basis down.
Crazy day. It's exhausting. It's only
Look at
12
you guys,
o'clock.
got me talking
Just shy.
options. What's wrong with me?
Told you pretty soon you're
Alright, guys,
doing
I'll be
zeros,
back
bro.
if anything
You
else
went
happens
from
here.
hating
Rug pull
China
coming,
to buying
dangerous
China.
market, trader
What was the other
586.
thing?
Yeah, they already rug pulled us here.
Evolving. You're
You know, we
evolving.
caught shorts off the open here.
Devolving.
There was another.
We traded call
Devolving.
options on this spike.
Oh,
We traded
fossil
call options
fuels.
on this spike.
Coal.
We have
So
been
you said never,
laser precision
never
today
would bet China.
on our
Put your money in
levels.
China.
Yeah, I got
Then
coal. I own a coal
We took
mine.
Then you
profits
said
on
no
our
commodities ever, no
SOXS.
fossil fuels, never, ever, and then now you're in coal.
We took some profits
the
on
most
Google
polluted,
calls up over
dirtiest fossil fuel we can get
135%.
into.
Hey,
No, it's
hold on a
Still
second,
riding
guys. Hold
some
on,
Nvidia
hold on
puts.
a
I
second.
still
Yo,
think
hold on a
Nvidia
second.
needs to
J&J
go
up
lower.
6.66%.
But we've hit our target 1.
165.51.
Target 2
J&J.
should
Good
be the
play,
next
Kev.
one on tap.
Go ahead.
And
Told you
guys,
that bitch was
I'm
165
all out of my
MT.
Marvell.
I'm glad you
I
got
got
in that.
stopped out at break even there on that dip.
Good job, guys.
But
Bro, that's like
Marvell looks like it's going to
400%
give us a new
bangers
low of
today.
day. It's
Yeah.
That
trading
was
with
just
the
a swing from
market.
yesterday, though. That was lucky.
So
That was,
what I'm
that was just luck.
just my little
My cue, I called that.
thinking
I said
around
it
what
all
I'm
day
doing
was
with
going to
Marvell.
drill.
I
So
like the level
I'll
that
take credit
Marvell's
for that.
into. The market's just going through a bit of distribution. So probably power hour into the end of the day is when I'm going to look to enter a long position on Marvell again. Okay? I still like the level, but I'm out of
Bro,
my
we
common
killing it here.
shares at break even
Yeah,
just because
especially
this
now Frank's
market
here. We really finna
could
kill it
still
now.
see more selling. Okay?
Wait,
Only
who's
I'm
here?
just only I'm
ASML firming up
Frank,
though. That's
Frank the
helpful
Tank.
for the semis.
Here comes the extra 200 people.
You can see
and
the
10 of them
SMH
are
hit that
hedge
level that
funds.
we gave.
Where's Frank?
Now the next level for the SMH to test is going to be
Brings in like
a
300 people.
liquidity sweep of this little low. But I
Can I just
don't know
leave?
if that
Oh,
happens
shit,
today.
I did it,
That's
Jack.
quite a ways away.
Trump is live now.
Quite a
You
ways
guys want to
away.
hear it or no?
Stupid
Okay.
pal. This man is so stupid. He's so stupid.
I didn't think they could fit more gold in the Oval Office. But holy shit, this thing is shining.
I'll ask Marco to say a few words on Syria.
Yeah, it's complicated. Obviously, these are.
Bro, this is all
Well,
over.
the Israel Syria.
Hold on a second. This is all over Bloomberg television. Trump likely to fire Powell soon. White House officials say. That's below his press conference that he's having right now.
So we've been engaged with them all morning long and all night long with both sides, and we think we're on our way towards a.
The other play is some of the currencies are moving high. Look at Japanese yen; those are pushing up.
At least is far more stable. So in the next few hours, we hope to see some real progress to end what you've been seeing over the last couple hours.
Do you have plans, or if you're back considering firing Jerome Powell, and what's your justification if you're thinking about this to do this?
He's always been too late, hence his nickname, Too Late. He should have cut interest rates a long time ago. Europe has cut him 10 times.
Hey guys, just a heads up here. I'm going to lose my power, so my stream's going to cut out. But I'll be back for Power Hour. The city just has to do some work on my house to replace a meter. It was unexpected, but that's the city for you. And government not really giving you much notice, so. So I am probably going to lose my power here shortly, but I'll be back for Power Hour, guys.
The country's become so successful that it doesn't have a big impact, but
Is it
it does hurt people
is
when they
it
see
just me, or
it.
does it feel like he's doing this too to get the spotlight out of the fucking Epstein thing? I feel like
Surprised he was appointed. I was surprised, frankly, that. No, look at his scandal on Spy. But they did. So, no, we're not planning on doing anything. We're very concerned. Oh, he tacoed Powell firing? Wow.
He fucking tacoed it, bro. He tacoed it.
I can't believe this. Cost overrun, and it's a shame. But the biggest cost overrun is the cost overrun.
The whole thing was a taco from the beginning, bro. Like he said it when he first came in that he wasn't gonna fire Powell. He specifically said that on 2 or 3 different occasions. Like, no, I'm not gonna fire him.
Bro,
Right? He said that. So
but he's also said a bunch of times he is going to fire him. So
Bill was right. They
that's
set
why
up
I
the
said
Mar-a-Lago.
that's why I said it was a taco from the gate.
Yeah.
Like this isn't a new taco.
This
Yep.
is
They
a
gave the
stale
signal.
taco. This taco's stale.
They gave the signal.
no, I
The
mean,
Mar-a-Lago crowd just made a shit ton on
I really
Twitter.
think it's the Epstein thing. Like it's because of Epstein. He always does this when he tries to get. He's in a bad shit spot. He tries to deflect to something else, something outlandish. Tesla over 320.
Bro, the market.
And pushing too. It looked like it's ready to push.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm gonna finish playing this. If you guys have a play, just call it out. I'll mute.
Whatever that may be, whenever you decide what you want to do with them.
You guys doing a very good job. I'm very happy with Kevin's somebody we consider. Kevin is fantastic. We have a lot of good people for that job. It's not a tough job, to be honest. Assuming you're smart, it's not a tough job. If you're a dummy, then I guess it's a tough job. But it might be one of the easiest jobs I've ever seen. And now on top of it, he's building a close to $3 billion little nest egg for himself. He's not doing the right job. We should be saving $1 trillion a year in interest. You know, when he talks about cost, we should be saving. Think